Don't blink if you blink. Ink. I'm gonna look up their show because they're doing well. And they're having a wonderful day on this 1st August 2025. Birthday, my mom. Birthday, my mom. It's her birthday, the 20th of August. So I'm gonna be singing her a happy birthday every single day of the month. Today we are going in with some. I think you guess what I'm trying to say. Did you guess it yet? Should I give you another seconds? We're gonna be taking our computer. This is a huge end. I'm gonna be taking out the second user of the computer. This is another huge end, by the way. We're gonna be taking the third. Nope, the third is not good. There you go, the third. And I'm gonna go on an application called Netflix. Now on Netflix, what are we doing? What are we doing? We are finishing Lost. Am I gonna finish Lost? No way, dude. We have number 8, episode number 8, which is transferring identity. There you go. So actually a good episode. The person and character is Sawyer. Gotta say, after the disastrous 2 last flashbacks, which were Sun, which were Charlie, I gotta say I'm extremely hype, as a kid would say, hype. That's the way you say it, right? I'm extremely hype about following the adventure of Mr. Sawyer. In this one, we learn more about him. So I'm gonna not gonna look at the screen, and I'm gonna tell you about it now. The sort of sad thing, right, is that we don't have any more the waking up scene, which is a problem because I actually did like this a lot. So we're gonna go in. Let me check out. Yeah. So the way this flashback is done is actually a masterpiece. Oh, you'll also see me eat mashed taters because it's Sawyer's, and Sawyer's a good old Americano. So no, it's because I didn't eat yet. The flashback is actually quite simple. Why is it so good? Because at the end we reveal. Now, so this Sawyer, he sleeps with this girl, and she calls him Sawyer. So you know it's the truth. The way it's set up is, you know, that Sawyer isn't the most moral guy. In this one, I have to change the rule a little bit. I am not gonna tell you about the flashback before I tell you about this letter. So since episode number 1 till this episode, because at the end of this episode he burns a letter, Sawyer is reading this letter, right? And then Kate asks him to read the letter out loud. Now, in this case, because we watched the episode a couple of times already, I can actually say that this is very relevant to the letter. So, and this is why Lost is so good. We come in, and Sawyer is reading a letter that says, "Yo, I know what you did to my mom and my father, and if I know, I'm gonna kill you," right? And it's going after Sawyer. So he's reading the letter as if this is so good. I love Sawyer. Sawyer isn't my favorite character, but character development wise, he's very interesting. So he reads the letter out loud, and we learn that again, it's a kid that wants to kill Sawyer because his mom. He took all the money from his mom and dad. Is the kid's dad got mad. He decided to kill the wife, and he killed himself after that. Now, where does that play an important part? Well, it plays an important part in a couple of places. We play the tower also, which is this game, because we're busy. I don't have a lot of time, so fuck you if you're not happy, and fuck you if you're happy, because why not? Um, Not that important, because the whole episode you're supposed to think that Sawyer is an asshole. The letter was written to him. He doesn't have morals. So in the flashback, Sawyer meets this woman, and he kind of seduces her, and he scam her and her husband into giving money. There's also part of this episode where he's in deep financial debt. People are after him, and what he does is he takes the money out of the husband. Now this is the cool thing. This is the really cool thing because he's scamming. So why is it a cool thing? Because you know that Sawyer is behind it, and the kid in the letter could be that kid, right? You don't know yet, right? So what happened is, you feel like Sawyer isn't a good guy. You feel justified in your presumption or assumption, presumption or assumption. I don't know. You feel justified. Oh, well, I know that Sawyer's an asshole, so if something's going wrong or something is going wrong, it's possibly Sawyer. Wrong. It's not true. So, what happened after that is that Sawyer comes in and he's like, okay, well, um, he does deal with the husband, and then he see the kids. And when he see the kids, that's the biggest reveal of the moment. He says, "Can't do it. I'm canceling. I'm canceling the thing." Now, this is the best usage of a flashback ever. You were canceling the deal. So Sawyer was gonna scam people. So the kid, he didn't cancel it. Now, after that flashback, there's a scene that says that the person who wrote the letter was Sawyer himself. His real name is not Sawyer. Sawyer was a guy that scammed his parents, and he realized that he spent so much time hating this person that he became this person. So there is some good in Sawyer, but he's so used in doing some bad stuff, and he feels like he doesn't have a choice. For example, when he takes the supplies, this is also something I should have talked about in episode number 1 and 2. Sawyer steals the supplies. I think there's a part of him that's very that is very what should we call it? He's a hustler. It's plain and simple. He's a hustler and he wants to make money. But I also think there's a part of him that's afraid that he's gonna be missing stuff. And it's like, yo, well, if I have to. See, this is nuts. Because this is also revealed in episode number 1 or episode number 2. Where Jack and Sawyer, they go to the plane. And Jack asks Sawyer, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm looking for cigarettes and booze. I even have some Playboys." And he said, "What about you?" And Jack says, "I'm looking for medication." And Sawyer says the following. He said, "How much are you going to spend on a diamond man, which is Marshall?" And Jack is like, "How many? As much as it takes." And then Sawyer asks him, "How much do you really have?" Which means that Sawyer already realized that there's not going to be enough for everybody. Sawyer possibly thinks that, and again, this is not mentioned in the story, this is my perception, this is my understanding. Sawyer possibly see himself as a guy that can survive in the wreckage, right? And he's like, why waste resources on somebody that's not going to survive when somebody that can survive can use his resources? Which is a very, very sad system, but kind of right. Like, for example, the Marshal. How many medicine we use for him? Now, can you believe that? Can you guess that he was killed? No. However, he was killed, and he died, which means that all of these sacrifices that they did for him was in vain. All the resources spent on him was in vain. Now, here's a moral question, which is where Jack is right. If you know that you're gonna save somebody, you know there's no hope, are you gonna just give up, or are you gonna let them die, or are you gonna do something as much as you can? For example, right? This is gonna be very controversial. This I'm gonna get canceled for, but I don't care. There's two farmers, and they're both raising chicken, okay? And then that chicken that they're raising, they have to sell the chicken. One of them decide to pluck the chicken alive, and the chicken's in pain. And the other one is like a quick, and the chicken is gone, right? So that's a human thing to do. The result is still the same. So Jack, he could have done the most humane thing and just give him a peaceful rest to the Marshal, ever try to save them. He could have survived though. Even in this episode, there was a fighting between Saeed and Sawyer, and then Sawyer is needed to be healed, and now he needs help and he needs the resources, which is kind of nice. Why? Because his mentality of let's use the resources. Sorry, there are a lot of scabs from mosquito bites. Let's use the resources that we have on people that need it versus using the resources on people that don't need it. And this is important also because you're in a position of what is the right thing to do, or priorities. Priorities is also important. So we have this beginning scene, and this is such a proper and a good usage of it. So the way you're doing it is, in the opening scene, you have Kate that sees Sawyer reading a book. Again, it's Sawyer and Kate kind of flirting. See, the thing with Kate and Sawyer, which I didn't talk about this morning, because I did a video this morning about Jack and Kate and Sawyer and Kate. Kat and Kate, and Sawyer, doesn't feel mutual. Kate and Jack feels mutual. So you would think that Kate has more idea of, has a better chance with Jack. However, we know what happened. We know how Kate feels like she's not good enough for Jack. So even though Sawyer is the most persistent, and at the same time, Sawyer in this case is the guy that's trying to get Kate. Jack doesn't even try. Jack's like, okay, well, if she likes me, she likes me. But there's not a moment where Jack is trying to seduce Kate. Sawyer is, right? And it sucks because they're talking on the island, but doesn't mean that there's love. And then, oh, you should have been with Jack. Yeah, but Jack didn't give a fuck. Jack didn't work enough. Your old perception of how Sawyer is an asshole and why she should date him is the reason why you want him to end with Jack. But if there's no love with Jack, then what's the point? Would rather be with a good guy or be with a guy that loves you back? I think we know the answer to that, right? Thank you. Now I'm uploading to Twitch and TikTok also, so... next on the list we have what? Oh yeah. So we have Boone. Boone comes in and attack... Oh shit. Sorry about that, guys. Shit. We're doing good. Boone sees Sawyer reading the book. Why is that a good thing? Because you just saw Sawyer reading the book. You just saw him. And this is, ultimately speaking, a great thing. There's going to be a lot to talk about this episode because compared to the last couple of episodes, I actually really like this episode. He saw Sawyer with the book, so he said, okay, well, you have my freaking... Shannon has asthma, which is an inhaler, and she's missing it. Now, it sucks because you think that Jack stole it, which he didn't do. Sawyer found the book. But again, Sawyer didn't say that he didn't have the inhaler. He didn't say that he found the book. He did it on purpose to be hated, which is Kate. Kate, she's mad at him. However, I don't think that Sawyer is a bad guy. I think that Sawyer sees himself just like Kate as a bad guy. And because he sees himself as Kate as a bad guy, he doesn't want people to be around him because he could hurt them. There's a moment in this episode where Kate gets close to him and he's like, don't get close to me, get out, right? And he pushes her away. Rejects her. Why? Because she went beneath his wall and he's not used to that. Versus Jack, who is a bit more used to that, but at the same time doesn't really care. You know? And I think even myself, I was shipping Jack and Kate together because Sawyer was such an asshole. Sawyer ultimately is an asshole. He's he's like Negan, to be honest. Negan from Walking Dead is an asshole, but you end up liking him, you know? That's actually pretty cool. So in this scene, Boone goes into the shit of Sawyer, and Sawyer fuck him up. Now, Sawyer fucking him up is a kind of like a good thing because he did steal. And it's complex because you think Sawyer didn't steal. They think Sawyer stole the inhaler, so basically he's a criminal, but he didn't steal it, which makes him... it's like this guy who he's arrested for stealing something, but he didn't do it. So then the court says, no, you're innocent. Isn't it proven guilty? Now, because Sawyer's not defending himself and not proving that, I didn't steal it, they think that he stole it, which raised a couple of problems. One of those problems being Boone is pretty sure that Sawyer stole it, because they think that Sawyer stole it. He goes in his bag and tries to steal some stuff. Now, this is the important part, because this is a talk of morality. When it's talk of morality, I'm so glad that you ask. I am so freaking glad you ask. We're pretty much done with the... Shit, that's also very nice. The nature corn. Fraise. Sucks. I have so much to do. My day's starting though. So let's fucking go. I woke up at the new Bugatti 3:30. So we've been up for 6 hours. Same time we did a lot, so that's good. That is really good. There you go. Perfect. There you go, Diego. So Boone stealing from Jack, from Sawyer. Sorry, Boone stealing from Sawyer is a bigger deal than Sawyer stealing because Sawyer didn't steal. So then, in all comparison, Sawyer was right to tell Boone fuck off, right? To tell Boone fuck off. Now, ultimately speaking, what Sawyer did, which is awful, it takes from the dead people. But how can you say that? Okay, well, guess what? This person is dead and this person is still alive. It's hard. So he took what he needed, and that's it. And then he took more and more and more and more, because he saw himself long term on the island, right? So Boone doing this is not justified, which Sawyer's reaction is justified. Now Jackie tells him, and this is why Lost is so good. Jack tells Sawyer, say, hey, where's the girl's inhaler, which is Shannon inhaler? And then Sawyer could have just said, I didn't have them. However, in this case, Sawyer is right. I'm gonna have to defend Sawyer. Am I a Sawyer loyalist? No. But do I think that he was right? Yes. Jack comes in, and instead of asking him, where's the inhaler, he said, give it to me. First of all, so he didn't ask Sawyer, can you please give it to me? He didn't ask, like, yo, do you have them? He accused Sawyer right away. So Sawyer's like, I don't have to prove shit to you. Fuck you. And then Jack started to ask something else. And Sawyer felt like he was being questioned about something that he didn't do. And Jack, again feeling justified to be a dick to Sawyer, felt that he was right. He felt that, morally speaking, he was right. But then Sawyer didn't do shit, so this whole feeling he was right thing doesn't really work in this case, which is kind of a sad thing because, again, it's all a question of, did he really do it or not? See, in this episode, Sawyer would be the asshole. However, everybody treat him like a criminal, so, right away he's guilty. For example, we saw this with Michael and Jen. Michael and Jen fought. Jen was handcuffed. Michael wasn't. But they both fought. Now, technically speaking, Jen did attack Michael, so he was responsible for it. However, it doesn't work like that. So, because they're going there, and see, Sawyer could have just said, no, I don't have it. But then what they did was they sent Saeed. And Saeed was like, I'm going to torture you. I'm going to torture you, and I'm going to get the medication from you. So right away, they never ask him, do you have it? And I'm going to torture you until you have it. The problem with this episode is that even though Sawyer didn't say that he had it, and people will say, oh, why didn't Sawyer say that he didn't have it? The question isn't why he didn't say it, is would they believe it if he said so? And the answer is no. The answer is no. So that, I think, is disgusting. But at the same time, how would I act in this situation? I don't know. How many chances can you give to someone? Right? And then at the same time, it's kind of cool, because one of the reasons why Sawyer and Kate would be so close would be Kate understand what it is. And if that they do that, it's gonna be so fucking cool. But it's so fucking cool. If Kate understand what it feels to be the less loved person on the island, and understand that everything that you do, they'll treat you like a criminal for it, maybe she understands this. Which is why they're close. So we got more Claire and Charlie. Again, Charlie's trying to say, hey, why don't you leave the beach to Claire? Claire is one of the last ones to stay in. Now, see, it sucks because, again, this is something that you can fault Charlie for or not. You can fault Charlie for trying to push her to leave the beach when she thinks is the right thing. Now, there's always going to be this question of, is Charlie right? If Charlie's right by leaving the island, what we're doing right now is the correct thing to do. If what he's doing is not okay, then it's not okay. So that's a bit of a question, but Charlie's pushing her, and that sucks. Ultimately speaking, even if you have the best intention, sometimes your action beats your intention, and that sucks. So you have Kate again defending Sawyer. Now, Kate is actually really nice to Sawyer. Really, really nice. How come? There's a couple times where Jackie goes in and he wants to fight with Sawyer. Kate comes in, she's like, hey, what's going on? Second time, they bringing Saeed and Jack are bringing Sawyer to torture him, and Kate is the only one that says, hey, leave him alone. So again, Kate is the one that defended him, which sucks. Kate read the letter out loud, which is again him saying that he's Sawyer and what he's done. However, we learn that later he isn't Sawyer. The letter he wrote to himself. So I think that the reason why Sawyer was reading the letter to himself is out of self-loath. He hated what he become. He hated the person that he was. He hated that he was becoming the person that he was. He swore to chase down. Him burning the letter in itself might be seen as a testament to change. There's a tournament tonight. Might be seen as, hey, I'm gonna be a better person. I'm gonna be a better human being. Now, again, this doesn't really matter because it's all intention. Burning a letter could be seen also as a forgiveness. It could be seen as I forgive the guy who killed my parents because I sort of understand without understanding what he did. I sort of it's tough. There's so many ways to interpret it that I don't know how to do. I don't know how to say it. I don't know. That's why he's so complex. That's why he's such a good character. Next on the list. Nice. Then he goes to see John. Later on, spoiler alert. So, also, Sayid doesn't torture Sawyer only because of the inhaler. He tortures Sawyer because he thinks Sawyer fucked him up. So Sayid again was close to getting the results, was close to having something, a stronger signal. He had a battery that are really rare on the island, and somebody knocked him out and destroyed the equipment. They think it's Sawyer. We later learn that it's John. Sorry, John did that, which sucks. So Sayid comes here. What I love that is that John is pointing fingers to Sawyer. So John is the reason as to why they think it's Sawyer, because John says, yo, maybe it's him, right? And then Sayid was like, no, he has an alibi. In this case, this is an important scene because it shows that Sayid also thought that maybe the culprit or the guy behind it was Sawyer. You know what I mean? So we have Jack and Sawyer. We have more fighting. This is the second time they fight. But then the coolest thing is, and that's a really cool thing. See, they kind of put Jin behind the handcuff. The real person should have been Sawyer, right? So Jax goes in and he fights Sawyer, and everybody's looking at Jack like, yo, what you're doing is right. Sawyer, Jack believes that this society can exist without having to fight each other, without killing each other. We can coexist, we can cohabit. So just like Rick and Negan, he doesn't want to fight Sawyer because he's going to show that it's okay to hurt people. It's okay to hurt people that we don't like. He doesn't want to be there. Again, he leads by example. He leads by example, not with fear or with something else. That I actually really enjoyed. To me, it felt justified. That he didn't fight. Next on the list, we have more of it. We have more of Charlie with Claire. They do a deal. The deal is what? The deal is what? The deal is that he brings the peanut butter and she'll go to the cave. Which again, I mean, this is actually sweet. I don't like Charlie, but I did like this moment. The next one is Jack has a problem with Sawyer again. Sayid comes in, and what is really cool here is we saw multiple times in the past Sayid tried his best to help Jack. He tried his best, until he couldn't try anymore. And then when he did, he went with Kate and said, I'm gonna help Jack no matter what. Like I said this morning. How? Well, it's super easy. Just by saying things like, yo, let's build this receiver. Jack doesn't have to worry about that. So then he goes to Jack and say, hey, I can make Sawyer talk. And Jack's like, how? I used to torture people. This is the first, and this is so cool because this is the first time we hear about possibly Saeed being involved with the wrong people, which is, it's not clear. Are they a good guy or a bad guy? They're not. It's not clear, but it's a military faction. That's the first case. And again, it's kind of cool because we saw Kate first episode saying, no, second episode saying, "Hey, I'm a criminal, Jack." Jack keeping the secret. Saeed telling Jack told the secret. I actually really enjoy that. I like Saeed a lot. So then again, they capture. Give me a sec. No. We have Charlie going to you early about the peanut butter, which is kind of a dick because he said that early doesn't lose weight, so he's adding food. And it's kind of like an asshole move. So this is a really cool scene. Sun comes to Michael saying he can help Shannon because Shannon's having an attack. So what is a cool thing? By the way, there's a really cool scene that we missed. Jack sees Shannon having an attack, and he calms her down, and he's able to help her. However, he knows that medically speaking, this is just temporary. So she comes in, and Sun comes in, and she's like, "Hey, I can help her, and we'll plant eucalyptus," which is actually something that's real. And she goes to Michael. Now, why is that nice? Because they do that well. Lost do that well. They do duality. Saeed coming in to Jack in secret and say, "I can help you." Sun coming in secret saying, "I can help you." However, in this case, Sun is actually being a bit of a not a bad person. I don't think a bad person, but she's doing something that's questionable. What is she doing that's questionable? That's a good question. She is telling Michael the secret. Her goal is for Michael to be like, "Yo, I can help the girl," and do the dirty job for her. So first of all, she helped the girl, and nobody will know that she speaks English, right? Which is a good thing. However, mosquito. However, it would be better if she did it herself because that's a great way to say, "Hey, we're here too. We can help," which is what Jin has been trying to do since day one. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We have the torture, Kate trying to stop them. It's actually super cool because Sawyer is resisting. Now, we don't see a lot of torture, of course. Because they're not going to show that it's a TV show, right? Morally speaking, this is where it gets crazy. This is where it gets a bit crazy. They confronting, they're fighting. See, what happened is, Jack is allowing Saeed to torture Sawyer. Then when he sees Sawyer being tortured, he's like, "Holy shit, this is going too far." So yeah. Then at the same time, Sawyer is able to free himself. There's not really a big deal. He goes to Kate, and he tells Kate, "You don't have to torture me. Just give me a kiss, and I'll tell you." Now, Sawyer says later that he loves Kate, but even this is bad of him because he kissed Kate. Like, "No, I can't do shit." Then they come back to attack him, and then Sawyer free himself and he fights with Saeed. Of course, Saeed wins, but Saeed takes a knife and planted it in Sawyer's arm. So now Sawyer has to be healed. It's a problem because this is other. How can I say this? This is others. It's so complex. It's so fucking complex. Sawyer doesn't owe anybody anything, so the way he's acting is kind of justified. Like, "I don't owe you shit, bro. What you gonna do? Because you owe something, I have to be a nice guy." It's like, "Hey, I need your help. I'm gonna be very nice to you." You know. Now we have a scene with Sun and Michael. This is a Sun. It's a very cool scene. So she's showing him the plant, which is eucalyptus, right? And then again, Jin comes in and it's like, again, Michael is a guy, is a problem. Now, Michael in itself is kind of the problem in itself. The problem is two people. Problem is Michael. I don't know. Because Michael would say, yo, I'm not actually flirting with your girl, she's just helping me. But Sun, hiding that she's speaking English, is putting Michael in danger. She's making him the holder of the secret that her husband doesn't know. You know? So that's kind of bad. But Michael's like, yo, don't do it, bro. And they have a good relationship now because there's oh my god. It's a question of don't cross the shit line. Don't go near it. If I was Jin, I would act the same way. A guy that's close to my girl, I wouldn't be down. I wouldn't be down at all. We have literally one of the best scenes where we learned that Sawyer wasn't the one that wrote the letter. It was the one that wrote the letter. It wasn't the kid, it was Sawyer himself. And then Kate feels bad for him, and then he's like, fuck off, don't come near me. We got Sun, who's basically putting eucalyptus and helping Shannon, which is that problem breeding in a natural way. Jack sees this and it's like, yo, this is super cool. Now, there's a very sad scene where Jin is seeing the Sun that's helping him. Sun that's helping him could be seen by Jin as a way to... it's tough, bro. It's tough. So Jin wants to work on the relationship, right? Anything that Sun doesn't love him anymore. Only thing that she wants to leave him. So he wants to work on a relationship, but she wants to be with other people. That's why he's a bit jealous. Delete the video. I'm going to be deleting one of the big ones. $23. 515. 515. 515. 515. Remember that, guys. 515. Love Again. We raise the song. 515, right? That's what we said? No. Easy. There you go. Nice. 23. We just freed up 23 space. So by Jin saying that, it's like, yo, she doesn't want to work in a relationship. And again, it's a sad story because Jin is going to be left behind. All he has is Sun, and all Sun has is Jin. That's not true, because Sun has a lot of people. So he's a bit insecure, and I think he's afraid of that. I think he's afraid of that. I just feel bad for Jin. I think he's such a good character. There's such a cool moments. Sun's gonna teach him English in the second season, so he becomes such an important character, such a good character too. He's really a good person. I like him a lot. Charlie goes in and he brings peanut butter, which is fake, but it makes Charlie brings peanut butter that makes Claire laugh, and Claire leaves the island to go to the beach. Now, I don't know who's still on the beach except for Sawyer. I think it's only Sawyer. Now we have Saeed leaving. This is actually a very important scene because Sawyer promised him... I'm tired. Saeed promised himself not to torture people anymore. And then he tortured Sawyer, which he feels bad about. He feels bad about, especially when he knew that Sawyer didn't have it. It's again, it's a system of, are you guilty or not? If you're guilty, then I'm entitled to do X, Y, Z. If you're not guilty, then I'm not entitled to do shit, which is actually a problem. So in this scene, I do find that it's kind of sad because Saeed did cross a line for no reason. So he goes out and Kate is trying to stop him, and he's like, yo, I can only trust you. Which is sad because he doesn't trust Jack. He doesn't trust anybody but Kate. Like, I need to go. I'm not sure why I'm coming here. I don't want to hurt people. I'll be on my own. And we lose a big moment. We lose a big part of the group with Saeed Khan. And that's pretty much the episode. That's pretty much it. Anyway, I'm going to go in. I'm going to destroy my mosquito. I'll be back in 7 hours and a half with some more Lost.